praised former President Mohammad Khatami in defiance of a ban imposed against mentioning the reformist leader or publishing his picture. What can we make of that?
Well, I think it sends a very strong message to Iran's population that voted overwhelmingly for Rouhani, that he's continuing the path that was put forward by former Presidents Khatami and Rafsanjani, who were essentially kingmakers in helping Rouhani get elected in 2013. His ability to connect with Iranian society to the way that he did. He didn't have his own independent power base 4 years ago. And slowly he's built it up by trying to connect with people and fulfilling their political, economic, and social aspirations. And there's no question that performing that and carrying it out is a marathon, not a sprint. But Iranian voters overwhelmingly gave him a mandate to continue that path in an effort to try and achieve everything, not just a few things, over the next 4 years.
So what should be his priorities?
I think number one is the economy. Iran has long suffered from economic malaise, and it's going to take some work not only at home to fix the way that Iran's economic infrastructure is set up. Anti-corruption efforts are long overdue, but it's also going to require continued interaction with the outside world. And Rouhani made a very interesting comment during his campaigning, is that lifting nuclear-related sanctions is not enough. He's going to work to lift all sanctions. And that's going to require sustained interaction with the United States, because the vast majority of remaining sanctions on Iran that are still on the books are unilateral American sanctions. And beyond the economic issues, there's also social freedoms. Iranians want less government interference in their lives, overwhelmingly, because that's something Rouhani campaigned on. And it's going to behoove him to really deliver so that Iranian voters don't become jaded and fall susceptible to the kinds of populist promises that Ebrahim Raisi tried to convince voters to support.
Now, you mentioned the US a few seconds ago. Looking at Trump's visit to Saudi Arabia this Saturday, his Secretary of State has been saying this afternoon that a defence deal struck between the two nations aims to counter malign Iranian influence. He's also calling on Rouhani to dismantle Iran's network of terrorism. How much of a challenge might the Trump presidency become for Rouhani going forward?
Well, the Trump presidency increasingly looks like a challenge not just to Rouhani, but to Iran as a country, both state and society. At this point, we should make no mistake that the number one priority to emerge from Donald Trump's trip to Saudi Arabia after the injection of billions of dollars into the American economy is to counter Iran. And that's the quid pro quo from Saudi Arabia to Donald Trump is, we'll give you billions of dollars. You do our dirty work for us. We are willing. The Saudis have long been willing to fight down to the last American. So this is really just a continuation of the status quo that existed prior to Barack Obama's presidency. And Iranians are going to present a united front if they encounter that kind of belligerency from the Trump administration. And I think Iranian voters also sent that message to the outside world, which is conflict is not our preference. But if, in fact, we are confronted, then, yeah, we're going to present a united front. So hopefully cooler heads will prevail, not just in Washington, but also in Saudi Arabia as well. And diplomacy can solve these problems because the nuclear deal proves that that's well within the realm of possibility.
Reza Marashi, thank you very much for your analysis.